Okay, so we're officially live. I'm just going to wait and see the stream start up. If you want to say some words for us, just an audio check.
Testing 1, 2. Testing. Syphilis. Sound good?
That's a curious choice of words. Okay, there we are. Remember that time when I was recording the Hypecast and Austin couldn't be heard for some reason?
Yes.
That was fucked up, man. Why? Why? We could hear him, but on that side, no one could hear him. Like, what the hell?
Don't know.
Last time I recorded the thing, and then the power went out, and the internet went out, and it's like, why? It was a Sunday. It was a casual day. Anyways. All right. So is there a timer on this thing? I don't see any. I'm going to full screen it. Can we add a timer via this crap on the side? I don't think so. Whatever. Let's check with the chat real quick before we start. Okay, there's no one there. Which means it must be time to start. Official start time. Wait, if I take track of that time, would it matter? I guess you can mathematics. Something like that. All right. I'm all phlegmy today. I don't like it. Okay, ready? Thank you. Greetings, friends. Steven here, and welcome to the second episode of the CAPMAX MOVIECAST. Our recording date is October 7th, 2018. It is a Sunday afternoon, and happy Canadian Thanksgiving long weekend for everyone out there. I'm joined today with Kevin from the Buried on Mars YouTube channel. Did I say joined with? Today we have with us today. Joined. Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
We have Kevin from the Buried on Mars conglomerate. Kevin, how's it going today?
Oh, super fantastic. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving to you, Stephen.
Oh, thank you, and to you in return.
Right.
So let me just warn everyone, like, I am rusty, I'm feeling it, I'm sleepy, a bit of a headache, I'm just falling apart. That's why I haven't done much of anything for all of summertime. It was too hot. Didn't want to record stuff. I'm trying to get back into the YouTube again. I want to grow the empire. We're at like 1,200 subs, and we're just flying up there. I mean, but we just got to keep producing. Unfortunately, that kind of leads you to spend more money on stuff, because like if I want to do a toy review or something, then I got to buy that toy, and then it all just why did we force this upon ourselves, Kevin? It was so fun back in the day.
I don't know.
Anyways, if you want to tell the folks a bit about your own channel, your own podcast, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Well, I am Kevin from the Buried on Mars channel. I've been doing some movie reviews lately on that channel. And that's been fun. Good fun experience. Been getting some solid responses from some people out there. And just doing the Retro Fandangle that I do with my pal Richard, who was on episode 1 of this very show. And we also do a little, it's mostly every week the show is just him and I chatting away for about an hour and a half. And then we also do a little side project called Retro Film Dango, where we pick 3 films and talk about them. Sometimes there's a theme to all 3. Sometimes it's just 3 movies that we feel like talking about. Sometimes it's only 2 movies. But we just did an animation episode with J-Rock the Game Rocker. And we talked about Titan AE, The Iron Giant, and Beavis and Butthead Do America. And we got our Halloween episode coming up sometime this month, where we're going to talk about Duel and Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. I had never seen it. And we might do a little bit of Beetlejuice.
Ooh.
We might. Yeah.
Well, the movie we're going to be talking about is not unlike Beetlejuice. Just things, they're a bit better than like dying at the start. There is a bridge that collapses, but we'll get into that.
True. Yeah. Didn't think about that.
Okay. And like I said, I am pretty rusty on this, so be warned, everyone listening. I feel mistakes will be made, and of course, if power goes out, stay tuned. If we have any live viewers, of course, we are streaming this live on YouTube. Let's check with the chat real quick. There's no one there. All right, we're coming back. Click, click.
It's a quick check.
It's just me, my test message. So I have a question for you guys, and this is an important one because I've wondered this about Bill and Joe as well, but how do you guys do a weekly podcast? Like how do you keep the mindset to keep going? How do you trick yourselves into doing this time and time again in this busy adult world we live in?
You know, we used to prepare every episode, like we would have segments, and you know, a part where we talk about this, we talk about that, we talk about this, and it ended up getting, like, the shows ended up getting really bloated. We would talk for 3 hours because we would end up just, you know, we can cuss on this show, right?
Oh, sure.
We'd end up just shooting the shit for the most part for about 20 minutes, and then we would get to what we actually would want to talk about. And basically we just kind of threw that all out the window, and now we just kind of shoot the shit for an hour and a half. We have a couple of things that we want to talk about, but I don't know. There's some weeks where you come into the show and it's like, I've done nothing all week. I don't know what we're going to talk about, and the conversation just naturally leads to a few things, and you know, we get it done. And then other times we just have a ton of things to talk about, and how are we going to squish this all into an hour and a half? And then you just kind of leave it for next week. You know, you have to kind of tell yourself, okay, that's enough. We talked enough, and anything that we have left, we'll just save it for the next episode. And it seems like as if people prefer that instead of the big long episode. There's some people out there that like the giant 3-hour episodes, but for the most part, people seem to, I don't know, it's like as if they, you know, they want that cookie at the end, like, hey, I finished an episode, you know? So they'd rather have 2 episodes that are an hour and a half each than 1 3-hour long episode. So we've been getting a lot of positive response from it, and it seems to work. And it's nice to have that outlet too, because when something happens and it's like, hey, I want to talk about that, I want to talk about it more in depth than just send out a tweet or something, you know, you got something for Friday to talk about with Richard, you know. So there's definitely some advantages to it, and really cutting down the amount of editing I used to do. You know, adding in music and all sorts of things all the time, and now I just cut and paste. You know, I'm able to might do like 2 or 3 edits in a show, but nothing crazy like I used to do.
Well, like we were just talking about just before we started, it's always good to figure out little shortcuts you can do while recording. Like I'm trying to, like I was just saying, if I had like a little timer that just it's starting from 0 and just going up, and you can make a note of anytime there's something so horrific that you feel the need, you must edit it out. You're like, oh, 27 minutes. Kevin said a racial slur. Got to drop that.
Yeah. You're right.
Or if there's
and as you know, like the hardest thing, the most difficult thing above anything, because we're all doing this for free, is the scheduling. Trying to schedule people to get to do one of these. So it helps that it's only Richard and I, because it's really only our schedules that we have to concern ourselves with. And we record at a really odd time, you know, Friday morning. Who's awake and not at work on a Friday morning? There's not a lot of people out there.
So it's your Friday morning and Richard's.
My Friday morning, Richard's Friday night,
Saturday.
Yeah, Friday evening. His Friday evening. So
okay.
And then sometimes
work is after work, basically.
Yeah. So and then sometimes we'll do a Saturday, the odd Saturday record. We're trying to do more of those, so Richard doesn't have to stay up so late at night. But you know, basically that's how it's just the scheduling. Scheduling's the hardest thing.
No doubt. Shout out to Brandon in the chat. He says, "What's up? Another random pop-up stream, eh, Steven?" You know what? That's another good point. Is we should just, like, I do plan these ahead of time, and I mention them out on Twitter. But I've seen some people like, do you know Maximilian Dude?
No.
He's like popular guy. He does like fighting game streams and all that. And I've seen he has a YouTube channel and does streaming on Twitch. And I'll see that if he knows he's going to be streaming, he'll upload a very brief video to YouTube. It's like, hey guys, I'm streaming over on Twitch right now. Come check me out there. So it kind of goes from one to the other. I do that with Twitter. Like I did tweet out, but It's important that I remember that not everyone's on Twitter, not everyone's on Twitch.
Yep.
Like, it's like with Facebook and Instagram, I don't use those. And if I see an Instagram link on Twitter, I get upset because it doesn't embed. I can't see your picture. Why did you leave that link there? Because it's a waste of time. But it's just so much crap. But like I said as well, it's it's free. We're just doing this for fun. We're just having a good time, hopefully. Hey, thanks, Brandon, for showing up in the chat for this no advance warning live stream. Yeah, use that Twitter though, man. I'm telling you, it's a good time. It's also good for making you not want to do YouTube stuff because you can just, here's a picture of a thing I bought. I'm done.
Yeah,
I don't need to make a video about it.
That's how I did my top 5 NES games. I just totally took a photo. There it is. There they are.
You're done.
And then some people said, "Where's the video?" I'm like, hey, you got the video in one photo. Photo says 1,000 words.
It's right there. True. It's so quick, easy. Busy adult lifestyle. I was gonna reach for a T-Rex toy, but I'm gonna leave it there. I'm surrounded by toys. This is out of control. Anyways, what were we talking about? Okay, Kevin's. Check him out at the Retro Fandango. Is that on Podbean?
Just type in Retro Fandango into Google. It'll pop up. But yes, we're on Podbean.
Drop that in the Googler and see where it takes you. Otherwise, Retro Film Dango. Now, it was great to borrow both Richard and Kevin for these first and second episodes because, of course, as we just mentioned, they also do a movie-based podcast. So check that out. It's always a good time. It's funny, a lot of us have kind of drifted a bit towards movie offshoots. It's just a good time. It kind of touches upon that nostalgia that everyone loves on the internet these days with the retro gaming and all that. It's like retro movies, and it's easy.
Yeah.
2 hours. It's like you've played a game, but it's faster.
Yes, and you only have if you're making a YouTube video on a movie, and you want to use some movie clips in there, you have an hour and 30 or maybe 40 or maybe 2 hours of footage to go through instead of hours and hours of gameplay footage. So that helps with the editing process. Just expect to get that big copyright claim when you post any movie footage on YouTube.
That's an ideal segue because I was going to ask that as well. What was the issues you were having on your channel?
So I actually use movie clips in my reviews on YouTube, and every review that I have posted, it gets stricken with a copyright claim. So one of the big movie studios says, "Hey, you're using our footage. This is ours, and we own it." So since I do not or cannot actually now at this point monetize my videos because my channel's not big enough, it's not really anything that's a big deal. Like I could just let that slide and say, okay, well, you guys run your ads on my videos and that's okay. And it's better to do that if you're looking for more hits because YouTube will put that as a higher priority in its algorithm for people to find, as a recommendation. Because they want to run ads, and they want to make money, and they make a percentage of the ads that they run. So it's actually better for you if you're a small channel to do that. But for myself, I like to own the work that I do. I don't want movie studios making money off of my reviews. And if I ever do get to the point where I want to monetize it, I don't want to go through the process of let's say I do 20 of these. I don't want to have to go through the process of getting ownership back to myself, re-owning the work that I've done through 20 of these. So every time I post it, it gets flagged, and then I put in a fair use claim and say, hey, these are under fair use. I'm using these clips for review purposes, and then it comes back because it's just going through an algorithm, right? It's just going through it's getting flagged through this machine. No one's actually watching the video,
right? So
it always comes back, no, you're actually using copywritten material, so we are going to we're going to deny you your claim. So then I have to appeal it a second time, and when I appeal it, it says, are you sure you're going to want to appeal this? Because if you do, there's an actual human being that's going to have to watch this video and make a determination on whether or not it is under fair use or not. And if it turns out that it's not, then you'll have a strike on your YouTube channel. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to go through this. I'm going to do this. And if I get stricken, I'm not going to make another one. I'm going to be done. I'm done with YouTube because what's the point? But so far, every single one has cleared except for 2, which are in some sort of limbo. They have a month to look at the videos, and that month hasn't expired yet. So I have to wait until they get to it. And that's Universal that I'm waiting on. But as right now, anyone can watch the video. The video is up. There's no ads on it, so you can watch them. It's just in this appeal limbo. So when it's at some point, it should clear that process by the end of this month. I hope they have 30 days. So.
Is it using like just the entire full screen? Is the footage you're using?
Yeah, I mean, there are ways you could probably disguise it better. You know, if you run it,
put it in like in a window, maybe a graphic around it or something.
Right, but what would end up happening is, let's say my channel takes off. Let's say it explodes, right?
Damn.
Then that gets bumped up onto the algorithm, and then they'll look more closely at the video, and then they'll put a claim on your video. So I'd rather do it now while the channel is still relatively small. I mean, these videos get probably about 40, views each. And claim ownership of it now, instead of after it's become a huge YouTube sensation and I'm all over the place and I'm getting 20,000 views a day, and they put a claim on it, and then you got to go through the process of waiting a whole month before it clears. But none of this is going to happen anyways. It's mostly just my just pride of ownership kind of thing. It's like, no, I made this, I own this, you do not own this. And so that's really the reason why I'm going through the process.
Yeah. Oh, it's all pain in the ass.
It is, but it's a lot better than what it used to be. It used to be like you were just left out in the cold. You'd actually have to send, YouTube an email, stating your case and all that, and somebody would have to go through it. So at least now it's kind of, the steps are there where you just have to click on everything. And
well, if you're lucky, you remember Joe's earlier channel.
Yeah, right. That was odd. Yeah, and that's the most frustrating thing, is you don't get an explanation if it isn't. If they do determine that your channel is in violation, they don't tell you why, and so you can't. The frustrating part is like Joe's situation, where they didn't give him an explanation why they took down his channel. If they did, it's probably something that he could have corrected, right? I have a theory that it was because his channel was called Transformers and Beer, and probably Hasbro didn't like the, their toy line that is meant for kids associated with an alcoholic beverage for adults. And that's my theory. I don't know if that's a fact. No, I know. Nobody knows, because they haven't told him. They didn't want us to know.
You can't know what you did wrong.
But if they tell him that's the reason, then he could say, okay, you know what, I'll change the name. Because there was nothing really crazy on that. He was just opening toys, right? He was doing unboxings and Transformers.
Joe wouldn't open his toys, but come on.
Well, I mean, he'd show photos of the outside.
The only thing I thought it could have been, my theory is that like they always had that same song at the start, and I suppose it would have been royalty free. But what happens if one of those royalty free guys just decides, you know what, maybe I want royalties now?
Okay, well that would have to go through a claim though. And they would have to go through that whole process, right?
But if the channel suddenly had like 100 claims suddenly all pop up all at once, you think YouTube?
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
It feels like something to that extent would have to happen for them to just be like, nope, pull the containment unit lever down, and
that's why I say it's best to go through the process now, and have it all cleared up now.
It's tricky. Just squish your video so that it doesn't pick it up from the video robots, and garble the audio bit so it doesn't pick up from the audio robots, and you'll be fine.
Maybe.
You'll be fine. All right, let's move on. Of course, I'm Steven. Everyone, thanks for checking out this latest episode of the MOVIECAST. This is episode 2. We don't record these very often, but I do want to get more into the content creation scene again. I feel it's healthy for us. It gives me a chance to chat with the people online and all that. And it's just the age we live in. It just feels like we're not doing enough real people stuff anymore. It's all digital. we're just tweeting at each other, and it's good. It's healthy, I think. You can check me out on Twitter at Steven Eider, student with a V, EIDHER. Kevin, where can they find you on Twitter?
I am at buried_on_Mars. Can't get rid of those underscores because some jerk opened up an account in 2011 called Buried on Mars and sent out one tweet, and that's it.
What was the one tweet?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
Was it
no, I do know. I do know. This is good. I could do it off the top of my head. He tweeted, he or she, this person tweeted out, "We are buried on Mars."
Damn. Well, there you go.
That was it.
He's going to take the name because he's got it. Watch that. Watch it get the check mark on that one tweet.
Yeah, approved. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now we know. All right, so let's get on with movie talk. So this show is not unlike the Hypecast, where it's slightly more focused, mostly talking about movies. I've got a TV show I'll mention real quick as well, but we're going to start off by talking about some movies we've already watched. Quick discussion there. Main topic, of course, will be the Chevy Chase film Funny Farm. And then at the end will be the wind down. We'll give Kevin a chance once again to pimp his channel. And then we'll mention some of the stuff we're looking forward to watching next. So it's very similar to the Hypecast in that regard. It's brand uniformity, if you will. So let's get on with some movies. Kevin, tell us about the movies you've been watching.
The other day, for some reason, I had a desire to watch Who's Harry Crumb. I know that's a movie that. Do you like that movie or not? I can't remember.
Exactly. It's not one of his best.
No, it's
I just like when he says exactly. That's the only thing I remember from it now.
It's weird because it came out the same year as Uncle Buck, which I believe is John Candy's best movie. And
I'd have to go through The Great Outdoors personally.
That's a good one too.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
For me, Uncle Buck has a little more heart. But Who's Harry Crumb? Yeah, that one is just a weird bunch of ideas that are kind of thrown together, and it kind of I don't know. So he's a sleuth. He's a detective. He comes from a line of detectives. His grandfather was a great detective. His dad's a great detective. So he becomes one. It's almost a little bit like Fletch in a way where he puts on a lot of disguises and he goes into places, in these ridiculous outfits. But yeah, it's not a good movie. It's just a poorly written, cliched story from beginning to end. Annie Potts is in it though, and she is super hot in that movie and does a really good job in that one. Another thing against John Candy, he had some pretty good ideas, some pretty good lines in that movie. There's one part where he's playing this some weird character from, I don't know, the Middle East somewhere. There's a little bit of brown face.
Beard.
That was the one from India. That was a little bit of brown face with that. This one was like he was like a hairdresser from maybe like a Greek or somewhere in that that area,
sure.
Mediterranean area, and he's his hairdresser. He's only got sideburns. He has no hair, so it's kind of funny look. But he goes in and someone asks him his name, his alter ego name, and he has this ridiculous accent, and so he gets the person, the secretary, his name, and she's like, "How do you spell that?" And he's like, "I don't know. Try it with a D." I thought that was a pretty good line, but not much else in that movie. It's pretty bad. Directed by John Flaherty's brother, though, which I thought was interesting. An SCT alumni.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of has that vibe to it.
But so I think it came up on my PVR, and so I recorded it. So that's why I watched that. I also found I went out thrifting yesterday, and I found Donnie Darko on DVD for $2.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never really heard too much. I've heard like some people seem to like this movie, other people don't, and so I watched it for the first time yesterday, and I'm in the I don't like it camp. Mm-hmm. Man, I threw out a little tweet about it, and I got some blowback for not liking a movie. People really really like this movie. But I'll say one thing about Donnie Darko. What it did for me is it kind of gave me a perspective on why I'm not a huge fan of surreal movies. You know, movies that are more thinking than actual. Like I'm not an abstract artist kind of thing. Like Jackson Pollock, those paintings. Give me a nice painting of a tree, or a barn, or something like that. I'll hang that up. Actual things.
Happy little tree.
Right. Yeah, Bob Ross more than Jackson Pollock. This is like a Jackson Pollock kind of thing. And you know what it is? It's
art house. It's
and
hippie indie hipster.
Well, in general, like a movie will usually have like some sort of MacGuffin, right? Like where they can bend, they can bend it and shape it into whatever they want it to be, right? Like my favorite movie of all time is Ghostbusters, and you're not supposed to cross the streams until all of a sudden crossing the streams can close gateways into other dimensions, which is a little weird, right? Like that's a bit of a stretch. It's supposed to kill all of existence, or it could close dimensions. That's your MacGuffin, right? And I find in surreal movies, and in a movie like Donnie Darko, there's a MacGuffin at the beginning where it's this kid who can kind of see things that other people can't see, and he's schizophrenic, so you don't really know what's real and what isn't and they just keep adding more and more MacGuffins as the movie goes on. All of a sudden, this is a MacGuffin too. Oh, and there's an old lady, and she's kind of weird, and she's a MacGuffin, and it keeps going until the whole movie, everything's a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
The whole movie's a MacGuffin. Guess what? We're just going to hit the reset button because everything's a MacGuffin. And I think that's what I don't like about surreal movies.
Yeah. Airplanes and bunny masks. And
there's all sorts of weird things going on in there. I don't know. It's not for me. Not my thing.
Yeah. I don't have it. I have mini movies, but that's not one of them. I might have it backed up, but otherwise. Maybe not even that. Yeah. $2? Was it worth $2?
You know what? Actually, I think it was a quarter. Come to think of it, because there was they had a tag sale, and some of the movies with a blue tag on it were 75% off. So that one might have been a quarter. Not sure. I did a Steven Eider thing though yesterday when I was out thrifting, and I definitely bought Nacho Libre on DVD for a quarter. Because it was a quarter. I'm like, you know what? For a quarter, I gotta get this movie. Because I'd watch it again.
I don't know, that guy. I'm done.
Jack Black?
Yeah, I'm pretty done with Jack Black. After year one, that was like, no.
Year one was pretty bad.
No,
yeah.
I'm not.
This is prior to year one. This is an earlier Jack Black movie. It's the director from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's just
I haven't watched
Nacho.
I haven't watched the movie again yet, but I did a Steven Eider thing, but because I went out to another store later on and I found it on Blu-ray for $5. And I just got it on DVD. Do I buy it again on Blu-ray? Of course I do, because that's what Steven Eider would do. Because you gotta upgrade it. So now I got it on DVD and Blu-ray.
Nice. Why not?
Yeah.
I say why not.
Right.
And shout out to Transformers and Video Games in the chat. I believe that's M. I think that's him.
Hello, M.
Joe's the My Life in whatever now, right?
Yeah.
M's the good one anyways. He actually plays the Transformers.
Right. M's the nice one, the pleasant one.
Good old M. Hey, Em, I finished my Power of the Primes. I've got them all now. Woo! So happy. And shout out to IQ Psycho, who also says hello. Nice. See, we're getting some views.
All right. Nice.
By the way, Kevin, do you mind if I rip that audio of you on the Cartridge Club's Hangout where you're like, no one listens to this damn thing anyways?
Sure.
That was the best.
Oh man, yeah, don't get me started. This thing's live. I'll talk about it when we stop recording.
That was so good. My jaw dropped. Really, you had all the most sensitive people there, all lined up. And
come on, like we gotta wait. We gotta wake up a little bit, right? I mean, how many people listen and watch all this stuff, anyways? We need to be so sensitive about it.
That was the best episode of that ever. I was going to join in, but I wasn't wearing clothes at the time.
That would have made it the best episode ever.
Maybe. I could wear my bathrobe with the big hole in the back.
Perfect.
That's going to be a fun thing to end the episode with. All right, guys, I got to use the washroom real quick. I really got to buy new bathroom.
That's
Anyway.
ratings right there. Ratings gold.
Damn. Yeah, it's hot stuff. Okay, hold on. The chat's getting hype. Okay, IQ Psycho asked if we saw Venom yet. I sure didn't. Did you see Venom yet?
No, but I've heard there's some good vibes going on about that movie, and I'm kind of surprised because the trailers did not do it justice. If it is a good movie, I wasn't looking forward to it at all. But is Spider-Man even in that movie? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think they have the license.
Venom.
They had that was Sony, right? They have their own Spider-Man. That was the Andrew Garfield one, is it?
Yeah. Well, and they also did the early Sam Raimi ones as well.
Okay. I like the Sam Raimi ones. I like what's her name?
Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Kristen
Dunst, yeah.
Dunst, that's it.
Yeah. She's good people, that one. All right, I like her. I like that hat she has in the second one.
Yeah, that's good.
Good times. Okay. We get so off topic. It's fun though. But yeah, good sound clip. I wouldn't mind getting that. I at some point I do want to get the soundboard up and running again. All in due time, maybe. I guess. Anyways, let's talk about movies. Any other movies you wanted to shout out?
Oh man, I could go on forever, but I'll just cap it off there because I've
only got a couple years. Well, alrighty. Want me to drop a couple on you then?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
All right. Well, it's great that you guys are going to be watching A Nightmare on Elm Street because I've been watching all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Do I got to stick my fingers in my ears?
No, it'll be hard.
I don't want to hear any spoilers, Steven.
There's nothing to spoil.
I know.
There really isn't.
I was only teasing you, by the way. I did not block you on Twitter.
Okay.
Only joking.
Well, you do it.
Mute you or whatever.
No, you do the opposite of what Yoshi Knuckles does because what's that called? Being facetious? There's a simpler word. Being something.
Deceitful?
No.
I don't know what you're going for.
I'm still half asleep. Anyways, there's a thing. What's the word? Oh, damn, it's gonna bug me. Where you're making an obvious joke, but in the context. Yeah, here you go. When you're being sarcastic on social media, but the thing is, if you're reading it via a tweet, it's just a blank, standard sentence.
Right.
So what may be sarcastic to one might not come off as sarcastic when someone reads it. I recommend an amusing emoji face that lets people know. Or hashtag sarcasm. That could work. Anyways. Nightmare on Elm Street. Fun series of movies. They get worse. If you enjoy the first one, have you watched it yet?
I haven't watched any of them yet.
Okay. If you do enjoy the first one, I would recommend following it up with Elm Street 3. But
so you can skip 2, go right to 3?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that. I gotta go. I gotta do things in order.
I mean, watch them all if you enjoy them. Like I bought, as you can see, I'm holding it here, the Nightmare on Elm Street Blu-ray disc collection.
I got the same one.
Yeah, it has most of them, but not all of them. Because after this, then we go on to Freddy versus Jason.
I did see that. I did watch that one when we did our Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. When we used to do the Schwarzenegger episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We did Friday the 13th. I did watch that one.
Mm-hmm. And then it ends up with the remake, I guess, of the original one. This I haven't watched yet. I was going to mention this at the end. On Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. So that's the one I haven't seen yet. I kind of marathon them. So I thought I'd give myself a little break. But yeah, fun movie. It's what I call one of the mascot horror movies of the 80s, like mentioned with Jason or maybe Hellraiser. Or anytime there's a main bad guy. Maybe even Poltergeist, because they didn't give the bad guy a name, Kane, by the second one. And then he kind of shows up in the third one. What do you think of Poltergeist 2 and 3? Did you like them? I kind of honestly like Poltergeist 2 more than I like 1, and that's very controversial.
I've only seen the first one, and I didn't really care for it too much.
Really? I thought it was awesome. It's a
The
classic.
Poltergeist? That's the one with the kid and the TV,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got the Ghostbusters effect, so I kind of thought you'd be all over that.
I need more than effects.
I am
Give me a
shocked.
good story.
Well, watch the sequel then, because like I'm saying, because it's kind of just random ghosts. They're kind of aimless in the first one, but in the second one, there's like this main evil guy who kind of is like the leader of the ghosts. I don't want to get into it because that is kind of a spoiler. It's really cool though, and I would recommend checking out Poltergeist 2. 3,
not so much.
Yeah, it kind of falls apart by that point. But anyways, so they're fun movies. They do get worse over time. Nightmare on Elm Street, it was the original, so that's fine. 2, kind of a spin-off. Like it's the same bad guy, of course, but the characters all change. Do you remember Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3?
Mm-hmm.
How like 1 was a story, 2 is a completely separate story, and then 3 goes back to the first story.
Mm.
It's a lot like that. Like I said, you can kind of skip it because it doesn't really have anything to do with anything.
Oh, okay.
And then by 4, 5, and 6, it kind of just gets worse and worse and worse. They're all fun. I mean, you know what's going to happen. You know how it's going to go. But like the reasons that things happen get dumber. The reasons why Freddy comes back are dumber. The way they get rid of him is less and less obvious. And just like there's one where it's like, I found a piece of mirror and I'm shooting a mirror power at you. And it's like, what? Yeah, I don't get it. There's a cool thing with Freddy's mom. It's like a sub story. I won't get into it for spoilers because that is kind of a cool thing. I won't mention that. But and then Wes Craven's New Nightmares, really. You know what goes on in that one, right?
No.
The whole idea is that it's the actors who played everyone in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, mostly 1 and 3 again, because those are like the main story. But it's them in the real world, and it seems like Freddy is somehow in the real world now. It's not just a movie anymore.
That's why it's so they're playing themselves?
Yeah, they're playing themselves as the actors they are in real life. So it's very meta. But it's neat. And then Freddy versus Jason, of course, that's just a fun thing where Freddy is like, he's lost all his power and he gets Jason to act on his behalf so people remember that he exists so he can come back and become Freddy again. And then that happens, but then Jason keeps killing. It's like, no, those are my kids. You can't kill them. I want to kill them. And then they fight. And that's the whole movie. Okay, moving on. The other movie I want to mention is an interesting one I actually picked up from our local dollar stores, Canadian Dollarama. Have you ever heard of the Zero Theorem, Kevin?
No.
This is a Terry Gilliam film, and it's exactly, when you hear that, you know what that means, right? Lots of clutter.
It's gonna be wacky.
Yeah. Very weird, lots of clutter. I don't know why his movies are always so cluttered. Like, do you remember Time Bandits or Baron Munchausen? They look like very messy, cluttered sets. This is a whole lot more of that. It's about this guy who I guess maybe I guess he lives in the future, and he just has this, I guess it's a data entry job, but it's when they do their job, it's kind of look like they're playing a video game. Like, remember Descent? It kind of looks like that, but it's
okay.
And he's like this guy. He hates people. He hates being around people. He doesn't want to be touched. He likes to refer to himself as we, like the third person. We don't like to be touched, which I also like to do. So I kind of understood where this guy was coming from in certain scenes. But basically, what happened? Let me just get it. It's weird. I mean, you know how these movies are. These Terry Gilliam movies. Computer genius on the verge of a great discovery under constant surveillance. Hard to describe. He goes to a party, he meets this girl, and he's really good at the data entry, but he wants to work from home. And the company that he works from will do that for him, but he has to work on something called the Zero Theorem, which is like this impossible code to crack. But he's like the best at this video game data entry job, and they think maybe he might be able to crack the code. And kind of goes a bit crazy trying to crack the code. And, the boss's kid helps him out because he's a genius as well. And the girl shows up, hard to explain, but I don't really want to because it kind of leads into spoilers. But neat movie. If you like Terry Gilliam, weird Britishy movies, might be something to check out. It's got some VR. It questions the purpose of the universe and whether or not there is a purpose at all, or if it's just something that happened and they'll just stop happening. That's that. Neat stuff. Weird stuff. There's a black hole. I won't get into it. Maybe even Donnie Darko-ish in a way.
Right.
Just a little bit. But yeah, interesting stuff. I paid like $2-3, and it was worth that much. Cool beans. All right, that's it for our warm-up, which means it must be time for our main topic, which is the movie Funny Farm, starring Chevy Chase and not Gina Davis. What is that woman's name?
I don't know.
I know, right? Madeline Smith.
There you go.
So we do have the wiki open if we need it. Real quick, let's just read off of Wikipedia. Funny Farm is a 1988 American comedy film starring Chevy Chase and Madeline Smith. The film was adapted from a 1985 comedic novel of the same name by Jay Cronley. The movie was filmed on location in Vermont, mostly in Townshend, Vermont. It was the final film directed by George Roy Hill. Huh. Do any of those names stand out to you? Madeline Smith, George Roy Hill, Jay Cronley?
Well, George Roy Hill is like an amazing director, a director with clout, I would say.
Ooh.
He directed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sting, Slapshot.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah,
I've heard of them.
You haven't heard of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
I've heard the name, but I've never seen the movie.
Oh, that movie's
or read the
good
book.
Times, man. The Sting. You've never heard of The Sting?
I've heard, but I've never seen.
Oh, Steven.
By the way, can you hear that siren?
I can, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I won't edit that. It's fine. It's fine. I live on a very popular road, so big.
Of course, you're right in the heart of everything.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. George Roy Hill. Yeah, not a name I hear too often, but yeah. Anyways, those movies are older, 60s and 70s, and
yeah.
80s.
I mean, he was big back then, I guess. But he was like, I don't know. He's not like the kind of director that pops up in like any top 10 or whatever. But he's a very competent director and directed many fine films, including Funny Farm.
There you go. Right back where we started. All right. So what do you think of this movie, Kevin? We talked about it ages ago, months ago. We were talking about movies that'd be fun to movie cast with. And it's just, there's not. We'll have stuff to talk about, but there's not a whole lot that happens in it. It's just it's a casual, fun 80s. Got that 80s vibe to it.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of an underrated film. I think part of its problem is the title. I think Funny Farm's a really kind of weird name for this movie because it doesn't take place on a farm. Doesn't have anything to do with a farm.
That's true.
The guy's last name is Farmer. So I guess, but I think if they would have maybe put it under a different name, I think that might have helped. Because I don't know, it sounds like this guy's going to get hijinks with the farm. Like there's going to be farm animals, and he's going to have to grow crops and not know how or whatever. I don't know.
It could be a farmhouse. I mean, I kind of get that vibe. Like it's definitely a ton of land.
Yeah, but there's no farming. There's zero farming in this movie.
That's true.
There's fishing, but no farming. Lots of fishing.
That's true.
I could have called it Fish Farm. Would have been more of an appropriate title.
Well, there's still a farm though.
But yeah, I think it's an underrated film. I don't know why it was like it reviewed very well. Siskel and Ebert gave it huge props when it came out, and they're not like they were tough cookies. They would put Chevy Chase you would rake him over the coals when he would put out a bad movie. But this one they really liked, and I remember they were on. Even the Tonight Show. They did an appearance with Tonight Show, and they made a point to point out that the Funny Farm was a movie that you had to see in the summer of 1988. But I don't know why it didn't take off for whatever reason. But it is a underrated Chevy Chase film in my book.
I remember being on TV a lot. That must have been why I saw it back in the day.
Yeah.
Just want to point out on the back here, does the Siskel and Eberts were quoted saying Chase's best work, at least at the time. It also calls him the Funny Farmers at one point in the back of this DVD.
I mean, I would put it in his top 5 movies. It would be for me, Fletch is my favorite, and then Christmas Vacation. I watch that every year.
I'd say mostly know him for the vacation movies.
Yeah, that's what most people know him from, is Vacation, probably. But But yeah, man, if you like the vacation movies, you probably should check this one out because it holds up. I think it's still funny.
Very
Um,
similar too.
yeah, like he's very much like Clark
Mm-hmm.
in in this, um, and has like a zany scheme to get him out of the situation that he's in. Uh, just want to mention too that Elmer Bernstein did the music for this movie. He has a nice little ditty, nice little nice little farmer theme. He also did the music for Ghostbusters. So
Yeah.
should we say what the movie's about?
Yeah, we'll get there.
All right.
Oh, the whole.
We
I
said
got
what
3
it's not
pages of what
about.
it's all about, but what is it about? I mean, it's this. I guess they're pretty wealthy. They must be wealthy.
Well, he
He's
is a sports writer,
right.
right?
Andy
So I
Farmer.
guess you make a lot of money. Yeah, I guess you make a lot of money being a sports writer.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Well, it's New York City, sports writer,
Right.
big paper, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The concept is, he just got his wife and they want to start a family and they are living in the big city. And I was like, well, this is no place to raise a kid, I guess. Let's move to where it's quiet. I want to become a real writer, write some novels. He's got a $10,000 check to start him off from, I guess, one of his publishing houses.
Mm-hmm.
And they get in their MG and drive off to the, literally the middle of nowhere because it seems like no one knows where this place even is. Redbud.
Right. The movers can't even find it.
Yes. But yeah, I've got notes, so let's check these out. All right, starts off with a very Kevin scene of dudes busting chops.
Yep.
I was like, Kevin's gonna love this scene. He's with the boys, everyone's smoking, it's sport house, and he's like, yeah, well, it's got to move on. There's a quote on this case here. This move is for keeps. No one thinks he's gonna last living in the countryside. But like I said, he gets in that car, a pretty nice car.
It's a Rolls Royce, I think.
It's an MG.
MG, what's that? MG.
That's the name of the car.
Oh, okay.
The company MG.
Huh.
It's on the front of it. I took note of that. That's why I take the notes. He gets in his old car, old MG, old convertible, British roadster kind of thing. Not a lot of space in those, I'll tell you what. And him and his wife, whose name escapes me, Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth Farmer, aka not Gina Davis. She sure has that Gina Davis look, though. I'm just jumping ahead a little bit, but this movie at the start definitely feels like the start of Beetlejuice. Like it's almost the exact same thing. It's like young couple. They've moved to the countryside. They have this huge house. Mm-hmm. Like, speaking of someone who lives in BC, owning a house is pretty much impossible. And you see these people, they're just moving like to this place and they just have this huge mansion and there's just so much land and it's just mind-boggling. But it's the 80s, I guess, and making that big sport writer money, I guess, and they can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's the location too, because no one knows where this place is. I guess places like that are cheaper. BC not so cheap. Kevin, did you know that in the mainland here we have farmland that's being bought out by people, not for farming, but for just putting huge mansions up? It's a problem.
Yeah, that's we got that here. It's called urban sprawl.
And
they do all sorts of crazy things to try to combat it, like put 3 homes in what normally would be a plot for 1 home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why everyone's stacked up on top of each other here in Southern Ontario. But, yeah, we have the same issue.
Well, one of these days, I'm going to have to do a Soylent Green episode. We got hobo problems, man. We got hobos in Victoria. They keep moving them around because no one wants them in their park. But, man, one day that digger is just going to come up and just dump them in there. I'll be like, man, they knew back in the day. 80s movies, they knew it all. We went over this before. But anyways, so they're on their way to their new fancy farmhouse, I guess you'd call it. And first problem, moving truck. Kevin, what happens to the movers? Where are they?
Oh, well, there's these crazy kids in this town of Rosebud who like to collect road signs.
Yes.
And one of the signs that have their eye is a sign that says where to turn off to get to Rosebud. And so Chevy Chase and his wife see this sign and turn off at the right spot to get to Rosebud,
Mm-hmm.
and the movers are following behind them, and the kids in between Chevy Chase making the right turn and the movers coming up to make the right turn, they steal that sign. So the movers do not see the sign, and they end up getting lost trying to find their way to Rosebud. And plus, there's a map.
Yes, and all that.
Right. They do have a map, but it's apparently less than adequate.
Yeah. He drew them a map. Like, why do they not have maps in their moving truck?
Maybe Rosebud isn't on the map.
Maybe. That could be a thing back then. I don't know. Is it?
Totally.
You know what that reminds me of? Nothing But Trouble. We gotta talk about that movie at some point too.
That is not as good as Funny Farm.
Hey man, Red Letter Media did a thing on it. Then why can't
I know? There's problems with that movie though.
Talking about clutter Terry Gilliam movies, that movie has some clutter. That is an impressive, I can draw parallels.
All right.
Anyways, so problem number one, movers get real lost to the point where they're driving around. They talk to that old guy. How'd you know my name was Bud?
Okay, a guy comes up and says, "Hey, Bud, how do you get to Rosebud?" The guy looks at him, "How do you know my name is Bud?"
I guess. Well, guess you can guess your way to Rosebud. What an asshole! Everyone is such an asshole in Rosebud.
Yeah,
in and around. Yeah. There's no reason for them to be, but like, are they supposed to be coming off as rude? Like, I don't understand why they have all these problems. Is it because they're outsiders, like, or is it that's just how city people versus like country people are?
I know you haven't watched the show. You've said it in the past, but it felt a lot like Corner Gas. Corner Gas is the town that they're in is kind of like that, where everyone is not necessarily rude; they're just quirky. You know, like if you
just used to each other's foibles,
right? If you treat them a certain way, they'll be fine with you. But if you cross over a line that you had no idea that you would cross over, like calling this guy Bud, then they're going to be a jerk to you. So it's I think it's just there for comedy's sake.
Yeah, I know. There's this, I don't know, I feel like it misses its own theme of the movie, which is, big city folk moving to the country.
Yeah.
Like there's, like I've got on the list here, they're on their way to their house. They stop at a farm, there's cows, big sky, there's mosquitoes. They keep bringing up mosquitoes in the movie, and it's just, I don't know. I feel like maybe they're not really getting their point across. Just the whole theme of the movie, like why it's such a crazy thing, and it escalates. We'll get to it, but
I agree. Yeah, it didn't feel like they wanted to leave the town for other reasons. So I think,
you never even really get an idea of big city living at the start. You know what I mean? Like you'd think there'd be a start where there'd be, he's like trying to wave down a taxi or something. There's just crazy traffic. There's smog. There's that 80s New York fog everywhere.
I don't think that was his reason though, that he didn't like the city. That was, he wanted to leave because he wanted to become a writer. Right? He wanted to write novels. He didn't want to do the sports writing thing anymore. So he felt like
done that where it was though, right?
I agree, but he felt like moving out to the country would give him that inspiration, right? You can look out the window and look at the little bird, and it would be peace and quiet. You're shutting off the rest. I think the idea was that he was shutting off the rest of the world and be able to focus and concentrate on just writing this novel.
Which also reminds me of another movie I recently rewatched, The Shining. Once again, we're going to the middle of nowhere,
right?
Lots of peace and quiet. Gonna write a thing,
write a novel.
Kind of go crazy in the process. Of course, that one also has ghosts, or maybe he was a ghost all along. You don't know.
There was something in the mansion. Yeah. I don't want to move off the movers just yet because there was a great line that I wanted.
Is it about a bridge?
Yeah. So they come back around to Bud, and the other guy tries to talk to Bud. The other mover gets an idea where Rosebud is from him, and before Bud finishes his sentence, the driver takes off. The movers take off without him finishing his sentence. He's like, "Yeah, you could go this way, and you go over this bridge, and you get there." And they take off, and he says, "But I wouldn't go that way." The reason why is when they get to this bridge, the moving truck is way too heavy for this bridge. And when they come up to it, he says, "I'm going to go." The one guy driving says, "I'm going to go over the bridge." The other guy says, "That thing, it looks like termites holding hands."
Yeah. That's no bridge. That's termites holding hands.
That was a great line.
Yeah. And once again, that is the bridge from Beetlejuice. And it's the same problem.
Yeah, sure.
Old-timey country bridge that just falls apart.
Yeah.
Although, unlike Beetlejuice, they escape with their lives. They try and drive their moving truck across the bridge, and it gets real rickety. And then they're like, no, back up, back up, back up. And then the whole bridge falls into the river. Not a great day for moving trucks.
No.
What do we got here? Movers get lost because the kids take the sign. All right, so the next official note I have is, they're checking out the house, and there's the front door is a half door. You can open the top or the bottom. That's when I officially designated the beginning of the slapstick comedy.
Yeah, they definitely got a lot of play out of that half door business.
Basically, you can either open the top or the bottom. I guess that's kind of a neat feature. But of course, at one point he tries to open the door, and then he only opens the top part, and he rams the bottom handle into his crotch. And classic 80s slapstick,
kick in the crotch.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but this day and age, kind of,
I laughed.
Yeah,
I still got a chuckle out of it.
It's cute. It's like, ooh, gotta work the acting. Remember that part when he was pushing the boulder up? Like, there's no way that boulder had any weight to it. But
no, that boulder was
a big man. He is styrofoam. That miming skills, like
it was a piece of styrofoam for sure.
Classic. All right. Okay. So they spend the first night in the new house. There's no furniture. There's nothing. They have no food. His wife steals a couple fruits, pretends they're not there. It's like, oh yeah, it was just a banana. It's all we had left. Do you want? It's like, no, it's okay. Thought there was an apple there. No apple.
His wife's a bit of a jerk to him.
Kind of. She seems to kind of hate the whole moving.
Yeah, she's.
I don't think she was down with it.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's not really explored that because I don't know. Like I said, their relationship escalates, but I don't really know why. Because it seems like they were having a good time, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like a commentary on women at the time,
No. She had a good reason. She had a good reason for being upset with him. If you want,
yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to get to that now?
Sure.
Well, he's trying to write this novel, and
don't get that far. Not that far.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying here.
No, I'm just talking about for the first part. Like, no, she's kind of slaps his head.
I think that she just didn't want. She didn't want to be out there in the country. She just thought it was a bad idea, but she's just trying to make the best of it.
Yeah. Maybe it's also a bit part of the slapstick. It's just there for the comedy. Okay, so what do we got here? So yeah, Beetlejuice part, Mailman. Does that happen before that? Mailman happens before the bridge, apparently.
Yes, because he thinks it's the movers, right? He's like, "Oh, good, the movers are here," right? He's honking the horn, and he goes out there to wave hi, and he almost gets killed. Well, he almost gets run over.
As it turns out, the mailman that drops their mail off to their house is kind of pissed off because their house is really off his route.
Yeah.
And there's a scene or a line where the sheriff's like, by that point, he's good liquored up and he is pissed off. So it's just this beat up old 1920s Ford truck, and he just barrels down their little road and just chucks mail, and he's laughing like a maniac the entire time. That's a recurring character who seems to piss off Andy more and more. We don't really I don't know, he gets really mad at him. I don't really get why. I mean, I get it.
I think it's a challenge. It's a challenge. He's going to get him.
Like, what does he want him to stop in the first place? What do you even want to say to him?
He just wants to get him.
I guess. These are definitely movies we shouldn't be thinking this hard into, but that's the show.
Right.
So here we are. Okay. Termites Holding Hands. Yes, great movie. Great line. Okay, movers show up the next day. It was a rough night for everyone. Andy gets mad at the movers, and they are mad at him because he's the one that gave them the map, which was apparently an awful map. I don't know why they didn't have a map in their moving truck, but don't worry about it. Everyone's pissed off. They're so mad that he throws his chair into the lake, the little pond.
Well, the movers, I think, were okay. I wouldn't say okay, but they were willing to just show up and do the job and get it over with. But Andy Farmer really tries, is going to give it to them for being so late. Yeah, how he wants a full refund and everything,
which is fair. And, I mean, come on.
Sure, but he wrote the map. I don't know. That'd be a good. That'd be a good episode of Judge Judy right there. I would love to watch that.
Yeah, well, once they throw his leather chair into the pond there, that's probably not a great for them or side of things. But it's funny. Funny 80s movie, I guess. It's funny. So here's the part where I have written down. Here's where it starts to feel like The Shining, because he's trying to write, but he's got the writer's block, and like you said, he's looking at the bird out the window, is always making noise, and eventually he just throws the coffee at the bird. And that also feels like what's his name's writing room in Beetlejuice. Same idea, where he's got the bird books and he's got the binoculars and everything.
Yeah,
all these movies have very similar vibes to them.
Never connected these two movies before.
That's the fun of the CAPMAX movie cast. Let's check in with the chat real quick.
Let's not. There's nothing going on there.
There's no one there. It was bumming for a little while. Yeah. That's okay. We're in there now, folks. All right. By the way, do you think people listen? Do they download the MP3s? Should I keep making those? I don't mind. Oh yeah,
I do. That's the only way I listen. It's because I wouldn't normally be able to watch this.
Yeah, I just rip audio from did we mention Dollar Dorks earlier? No, that was in the video I shot coming up. Pickups video, get hype. They do the same thing I'm doing now, but I always just rip the audio and turn that into an MP3 and put that on my phone.
You can download their show though. I'm subscribed to their podcast on something. I don't know. But I download their show.
Really? Maybe I did that too. I don't remember. Depends. There's shows. Some shows that are only live streams, and that's always an option if you want to just rip the audio. It's good because it's hard to find time for YouTube. But if I'm at work, I got plenty of time for podcasts.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Okay, where are we? Hey, they found the phone, Kevin.
Yes,
they were supposed to have a phone installed, but where's the phone?
The phone was in a cupboard, and apparently it was attached to a 12-inch cord. So they're down on the floor trying to make a phone call. This was after they discovered the body, right?
Just before.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's at the same time because his wife is digging in the garden. He's looking at the birds, and she's like, "Oh my god, I found something!"
Right.
And he's like, "I found the phone." That's when he opens the door, and only the top part opens. Then he prods on the bottom part. He's rolling on the ground, and that's when he sees the little phone cord. Right. How would they miss that? There's nothing in the house, and they were sitting in there for hours doing nothing. It was right there. Explore the house. Anyways, we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And he opens the little door. He's like, "Oh, found the phone." And at that point, after that, turns out, whoops, there's a coffin in the garden. Lol. It comes back later. It's kind of weird at this point. It's kind of poltergeisty in a way too. Once again, random house.
There you go. Yeah.
All these movies.
Maybe this is a horror film. We just
kind of is. Kind of is. Speaking of horror, after they find the coffin, it's time for some fishing at the pond. Is that? I guess that right away that goes to the scene where it's not here. That's unbelievable. That's when they get on the phone, call the operator, and the operator is convinced that they're talking on a payphone, even though it's a phone installed in their house. Right. And they keep trying to. It's like it's a regular phone. It's like, no, we know a payphone. It's listed as a payphone. It's like, no, it's in our house. We need the sheriff. And eventually, she's like, "This is Mrs. Elizabeth Farmer. We have a corpse in the garden, and we need the sheriff immediately." And then they do show up, and then they remove the body. And it's like, "Well, we'll give him the best service money can buy." And they don't really think of what he says. They're like, "Okay, yeah, just get rid of it. It's fine." That comes back.
Well, don't skip over how the sheriff shows up in a cab.
He's driving a car at the end, but it's just another dumb side thing. But for whatever reason, the sheriff is just an awful driver, and he has no license.
I thought that was funny. I thought that was pretty good.
Well, I guess it's playing off of these are dumb hicks vibe.
Well, how did this guy even become sheriff if he can't have a driver's license? So
just don't think about it. It's just another silly side thing. I didn't even make a note about that. Just surprising.
I did. Cop can't drive. There's my note.
Oh yeah, by all means, of course. If I skip something and you have it written down, just get around there. That's half the fun, is we make notes and we compare notes, see what stuck out to us. Okay, next scene, and he's fishing. It's almost like this can almost be like a TV show. These little dumb events are just kind of squished together into a movie. He's like, yeah, maybe we'll fish up a lunch for us today in our little pond. And fishes up what I thought at first was an eel, but it's a
No,
snake.
it's a rubber snake. Yeah.
Getting freaked out by it. He's it's stuck to the fishing line, stuck to his leg, which is stuck to the snake, and he's like running down the backyard, and the snake's stuck to him. He's like, it's chasing me.
Yeah.
Grabs a rock. It's like, I gotta squish it. Well, where'd he go? And then of course, see this snake going into the house, and his wife's like cleaning, listening to music. She screams a lot, lots of screaming.
A lot of screaming. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts about that scene?
It was funny. When I saw the snake came up, I forgot about that. So, what does he catch again? And the snake comes out, and I just thought it was, it's a rubber snake.
Yeah, it's a cute scene.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the point where the underlying theme here is that, like, it's not like The Money Pit. You remember that movie, like where the house is just a nightmare every step of the way. Like that, that's a fair reason to move out. But this, they're just, mosquitoes, sure. Wildlife, sure. Ducks, sure. That's fine. Wacky neighbors, sure. Mailman's a bit weird. These are all things that happen when you move. You gotta get used to a different scene. But I guess it's just
fish out of water. They're doing the fish out of water thing.
Or a snake.
Or snake out of water.
It's the the soundboard for applause. I gotta get that going. I got a program, Soundbite. Have you heard of Soundbite?
Yeah, I think I was using that for a while.
Was it good? Should I look into it?
It was all right. Yeah.
Okay. I'll get into it. Let's check the chat. Everyone's gone. It's okay.
No chat.
Yeah. It's a long show. So it makes more sense as a podcast. But it's easier to do this for ripping audio.
Sure.
All right. What do we got next? So let's head into town. Hey, there's a baseball game. Hey, there's an antique shop. Let's check these things out. All I have written down was awful baseball game, because it's just everyone's having a rough time playing baseball.
Yeah, there's people playing baseball in jeans. That should never happen. Should never be playing baseball in jeans.
Guy, one of the guys in the back has got like a cast on. It's like, oh, he's seen some shit.
Well, the umpire was one of the lawyers with the neck brace.
Oh.
Did you catch that? Yeah, so he had to like lean over, and that's why he couldn't call balls or strikes, because his neck is like looking up. So he's trying to look down at the strike zone, and he can't really see it too well. They kind of really it was just kind of like a throwaway kind of thing. Like they didn't focus on it too much. It was like one of those things you had to be looking at to see. But yeah,
it's good. Yeah, it was just people from the town just playing baseball for fun. Guy gets clocked in the back of the head with a baseball bat swing. Like that's gonna do some damage. Ow.
Yeah.
And he's just like watching this. What is even happening? What is this? And Elizabeth checks out the antique shop, finds a squirrel.
Yep.
Which inspires a bit of creativity in her. What do you know? Back at the baseball game, turns out they're following up their baseball game in town with some sort of fishing competition.
Yeah.
And the guy that got knocked out was the fourth of a four-man team. And hey, these three guys kind of reminds me of what's that movie? Grumpy Old Men. Like those two guys definitely have the Grumpy Old Men kind of vibe going on. And it's like, hey, here's a random guy we don't know, but hey, want to join our fishing competition? It's like, hey, yeah, sure. Thanks for letting me on the team, guys. And more wackiness ensues.
There's a lot of convenient fast drawing.
Yes.
Chase, I think he goes in the water twice during this whole sequence, and he dries out really quick. I'll give Harry Crumb that when John Candy got wet a couple times in that movie, they stuck with the wetness. You could still see it on him, like when he sticks his hand in the fishing tank and all that. Like his arm is wet for that whole friggin' scene. But Chevy Chase, I don't think he wasn't committed as much as I would have liked. He should have stayed wet throughout. He stays
scenes. Wet the second time at least.
A little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
Like when he walks out of the water and into the car, he's wet. Yeah. But when they're driving in the very next scene, he's completely dry. He should have been wet for that scene.
Yeah. Cold. Well, I think it was still summer around that point. Maybe they dried out. Whatever.
Oh, it was fall. Remember, because they're in the fall time. The leaves are changing, and we go into the final season at the end.
Yeah, it's almost a year's worth of content. All right, so we get the fishing, hooks. Guy gets a fishing hook stuck in his neck. And he tries to knock him out. You're like, quit screwing, we gotta get this hook in. He was like, no, we gotta knock him out. No, don't do it. I got it. Like, keeps punching him. Ah, you son of a bitch. And he hates Andy for the rest of the movie because of that.
Yeah, that guy's a good character actor. He always plays an asshole in a lot of movies, and he's a memorable bad guy in The Untouchables. Yeah, he's really good in that movie. More serious role, of course, but
I've got a cast here. I don't know which one is him though. Mickey, Michael, Lon.
I don't remember what his name was.
Gus, Crumb, and Gus. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Don't remember what his name was.
Yeah, fun characters, but you don't need to worry about that. And yeah, people get hit in the head with paddles, and he smacks everyone with a paddle. And they fall into the lake, and everyone's pissed off at him. He's like, "No, you'll never get me. You'll never find me. I'd never sleep." And he jumps out of the boat because everyone's gonna kick his ass. He's punching people and hitting them with paddles, and he just swims back to shore. And that's where his wife is, and they drive away. Well, it's not a great day. One's getting a lot of.
His name in the movie was Brock. That was his name.
Ah, just Brock. Brad Sullivan as Brock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. Untouchables. That's the only one I didn't put my mouse over. Shout out to Wikipedia.
And he was also in Slapshot. So there you go. There's the George Roy Hill connection.
Nice. Mo and Chuck. I should watch that movie again. I haven't seen it in ages. All I remember is the start when the French Canadian guy's talking to the news reporter.
Yeah.
And then you feel shame. Alrighty. So at this point, the sheriff shows up. How did he find them? Anyways, he's got the bill for the coffin for the guy that the body they found. And it's way too much money because he gave this body of a person the farmers don't even know, top of the line, fancy headstone and coffin, and that's absurd. It's like, no, it's been a bad day, and you just dropped this on us. Things are just getting worse and worse.
Right.
But it'd help though, getting a new dog. Because
yes,
I guess they feel like they're just not making friends with the locals. So maybe just get a dog. That's all we need. What happens with that dog, Kevin?
Well, they get the dog to the house, and the dog, they have some ducks in their pond, so the dog runs over to the pond and scares up the ducks a little bit. And Chevy Chase is like, "Hey, get away from those ducks!"
Hey,
and
dog.
so the dog does.
The unnamed dog.
It makes a beeline towards the woods.
Yep.
He's just gone. The dog is gone.
Like
Chevy Chase jumps in the car to go find him, and can't track him down. So I think he had him for about a total of 5 minutes. That was about it.
Excuse me. Like, they just got a ton of space in that backyard. It's just it goes right off into like all of America.
Yeah,
and the dog's just loving it. But he just keeps running, barking and running, and that's pretty much the end of that dog. You see him again later, briefly, as he's still running around the countryside. That dog didn't last. So, what does this say? New phone. Nice. Hey, the new phone was installed.
All right. Yes.
It's a pay phone. That was silly. I guess they don't have to pay a regular phone bill then? That's,
I don't know.
That's another silly thing. Lots of silly. It's a very silly movie.
I think Bell used to charge, like, if there was a payphone at a gas station, they would charge that gas station to have the payphone there. So I don't know. Be interesting to know how the billing works. Once again, thinking way too much about this movie.
Yeah, I know. That's half the fun. Shout out to Yoshi Ben, who's here in the chat now. He's asking what we're talking about. We're talking about Funny Farm. It's a silly movie starring Chevy Chase. Streaming. Yoshi's streaming now. I guess so.
Everyone streams now.
Yeah. Okay. So where are we now? Lots of writing. Lots of montage of writing, attempting to write. Now they're both writing at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Andy's trying to write. He's got 2 chapters done. Meanwhile, not Gina Davis, Elizabeth is She's got the groove, man. She's writing up a storm. Yeah. Okay, now it's time for their anniversary. And Andy's anniversary present was, hey, it's my the first 2 chapters of my book. And I was like, oh, that's neat. Well, I got you a present too. It's out on the porch. Just let me get it. Kevin, tell us about Elizabeth's present.
Oh, it's presents. I don't remember.
Really? It's the best thing about the movie.
Oh, of course. Yeah, she got him another. How could I forget? She got him another dog, yellow dog.
Yellow dog.
A dog that was guaranteed not to run away because this dog doesn't move. Just a big old lazy dog that just sits there.
What kind of dog is that? That's not a retriever, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. No, it's not a golden retriever. I don't know. I'm not good with my what. Yeah, I don't own dogs. I'm not big. I don't know what dog is.
Just a big fat yellow dog.
Yeah, yellow dog.
that scene where she just comes back in. She's just holding this giant dog. That's gonna be the thumbnail for this YouTube episode.
Nice
upload. That's probably my favorite shot in the entire movie. She's just got that big smile on her face. That she's holding this lump of something. It's like, is it alive?
Yeah.
Chris is alive. And then the camera pans back and you see his face just like, what's going on?
And the dog has no name. He's like, what do I name it? Or what's its name? She's like, yeah, it's up to you. And he just names it Yellow Dog.
Yellow Dog. I'm like, hey, Yellow Dog. Same thing, I guess, as the original dog. They just never really had any names planned out. Good enough, Yellow Dog. I don't remember if I have it written here, but at one point, Yellow Dog's tail is in the fire.
Yeah. He just picks it up and moves it away.
Steps on the tail to put it out.
Put it out.
I was like, He does get active later, but that's on page 3, I think. All right, which is the third and final page. Okay, so Yellow Dog. Best part of the movie. All right, hey, it's time for dinner. I like that they're all dressed up for like a big city, like night on the town, but then they go to just the most like ghetto hillbilly places they can. They go to like some bar, diner, yeah, and then say, hey, these lamb fries are really good. They're delicious. Like, you know it. If you keep eating them, you'll beat our town record once again. Not unlike another movie, The Great Outdoors.
That's right, yeah.
Where they're eating the super steak. Oh, that's a lot of meat. Anyways, lamb fries. Sure, tasty. One problem. What's the problem, Kevin?
They are lamb testicles.
Gotta cook them just right. It's all right seasoning in there. He's got 31 lamb testicles eaten, and it's like, whoa, lamb testicles. Oh, better back to 30. What a zany dinner. Oh, snap. It's Happy Console Gamer.
Hey, look at that. Let's grab Devastator.
Dude. People can talk about Transformers. Did you get Hunger, by the way, Johnny? I don't know if you ever did. I was talking to him like a month and a half ago about finding the Transformer Decepticon Hunger, which did eventually show up in town. I did not get Devastator. Dude, get the third-party guys. Those bootlegs are the best. They're definitely worth picking up. But we're talking about movies here. So many distractions. He's got the check mark. How do we get those check marks? How many subs do we need? I want to check.
A bajillion, I believe.
Damn it. But anyways, thanks for checking in on our live stream here. That's awesome. We are in the middle of our discussion of Funny Farm. Where are we now?
The only people doing talking about Funny Farm. We're the only ones.
That's how you got to do it, man. Yeah,
that's right.
Gotta find that ground that hasn't been trampled over. You know, it's like people who keep doing Mega Man 2 videos. I mean, come on.
Right.
That pisses me off so much now.
Right.
That's got nothing to do with anything. Okay. So those lamp fries, delicious until you find out what they are. It's like you got to explain those things better. All right. So now they're in what is that? It looks like a fishing house. Like, just the most ghetto places they could find.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
It looks like, like maybe it'd be on a beach or something. I feel like there'd be a lot of lakes in this town. I don't know.
Should be at least one.
Yeah, lots of fishing. He's got the pond, got the lake. They just find these little houses. It's not like a motel, but it's, I don't know. It feels like a place you'd go ice fishing. You know what I mean? These little houses. I don't know. And they're getting romantic. And Andy's like, you know what? Next, time to read my manuscript. He's like, what? No? Yeah, right now. Oh, okay. I mean, I thought we were getting in the mood, but I guess sure. It's like, you read that. I'm gonna get some champagne, and then we'll come back, and you'll let me know what you think. He's like, oh, okay. It's not quite the romantic evening that she thought they were gonna be doing. But, it is what it is. And what do you think of that manuscript, Kevin?
She did not care for it too much. In fact, she hated it.
To the point where it's like, so what'd you think? And she just starts crying.
There's so many flashbacks. What was there in the first 13 pages? There was 6 flashbacks.
There's like a flash forward, and I think there's gonna be flash sideways. And
there was a flashback in a flashback.
Yeah. He's like, "What'd you think? It's a comedy." He's like, "It's a comedy." I thought it was like a gangster heist thing. It's all 3.
Yeah.
She just got this look on her face the whole time. It's like, well, what did you like? All of it? What should we do? Should I rewrite it? Just burn it. And things escalate. It's like, fine, you want me to burn it? I'll burn it. It's burning. Shit. He has a little like fire thing. He just pulls out, stomps it off. And that's all he's written for what was it, like half a year?
Something like that, yeah.
Damn. He's got that shining writer's block going on. Unfortunate, because that's the whole reason why they went out there. I guess it's a bit of an adjustment going from sports writer. What even is a sports writer? Is that like describing the event?
Sports columnist, like you'll there's lots of off-field stuff going on that you could talk about, or should the Jays trade this guy or whatever. You just talk about sports, just like talking about video games.
Yeah,
same thing.
It's almost like a podcast, I guess, but you're right.
Yeah.
Once again, you got to remember it's the 80s, so a lot of what we have today just wasn't there at the time.
Yeah, this was like he was in the newspaper, right? So, I mean, if you wanted to talk about sports, the newspaper column was the thing that you all read, so you could talk about it.
Well, by the way, Johnny, if I was a jerk before about the state of BC traffic, I apologize. I work at a body shop, so I see smashed up vehicles constantly, so I am just immune to that stuff. Just want to put that out there. What's funny about him is that if we talk to each other via Twitter, random people always join in on that conversation. I guess that's just what happens when you're like a
superstar.
Yeah, big sub YouTube man, but I don't reply to them. I kind of feel like a big shot by not replying to them too, which is awesome.
Right.
Anyways, but yeah, man, traffic out of control around here. It's only getting worse. Where I work, off topic, I know that's how I roll. Right where I work, there's this road. It's like a little off road, but people love to just tear down it for some reason. It's not a well kept road. There's potholes and all that stuff. Really greasy. But right next to where I work is this thing called the Galloping Goose Trail, which is like a cyclist trail. And there are stop signs, but people don't stop sometimes. And almost every week there's a cyclist who's been bowled over, and then they always stop enough so it's not like crazy blood and everything, but constant collisions over there. It's out of control. Okay. Back to our story. Where are we at here? Okay, so not a great end to their anniversary. Okay, so they must have. So they spent the night at the place, whatever, and then those street sign vandals strike again, because this time they take a sign that says "dangerous turn ahead" or "sharp turn," and they're like, "Oh man, this is the best sign ever. It's got no bullet holes in it." And Andy and Elizabeth make up in the car. It's like, we overreacted. We're all a bit strung up. Lots of crazy events happening. Let's just cool down. And then they hug while driving. Don't do this, kids. Look where you're going. And, oops, no sign. They kind of just drive off a cliff.
Yep.
It's just so random. It's just like, is that the last time we see the car? Because the car must be smashed. So
yeah, the car's... No, the car's totaled, and they buy a Chevy S10, a little truck.
Oh yeah, because she seems to survive the crash just fine. Andy's arm gets broken.
Yeah,
I mean, all things considered, I think they got away pretty good because that's like,
Yeah. I don't know if they went off a cliff. They just went off road. So
yeah,
it's one of those things you never see what happens. You have to use your imagination.
yeah.
So.
It feels like they didn't want to smash up the car. Like someone's like, "Hey, that's my car.
Yeah.
Don't smash it."
That's too nice of a car to smash up. For sure.
Even for that time, I guess it must have been a vintage vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, what do we got here? Driving off a cliff. Oh, hey, selling the book. Not bad. So Andy's still in his weird writer's block funk, but wouldn't you know it, Elizabeth actually, she sold a book.
Mm-hmm.
All this time, they were there so Andy could write, and it turns out his wife Elizabeth was the one writing and making some money in the process. Is that a thing we can do? Is that a thing? Like, can you send literature to publishing houses and just get money?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Totally. Yeah.
Why aren't we doing that? That sounds like a fun job.
Well, because it's kind of actually hard to write a novel, write a novel that other people want to read.
Well, you find out, though, that she didn't write a novel at all, but in fact, a children's book.
Oh, that's right.
I could write children's books.
Well, there you go, Stephen. There's your calling right there. Funny Farm is your inspiration.
Damn. Like, she doesn't even draw pictures. It's just a story. But like, how many pages was it? Is it maybe like a kid's novel, or is it like a storybook where it's like 1 or 2 sentences a page?
They never really get into it that much. Yeah. Again, I think we're overthinking.
Oh, you bet we are. Half the fun. That's why we go off topic from time to time.
Right.
Okay, just check with the chat. Yoshi says, "Don't feel bad. Traffic sucks just about everywhere." It's true.
It does. Yeah.
People can't drive anymore. Driving off of cliffs. At least our signs aren't getting cut down. See, they've tied it all together.
Yeah. Good work.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, those kids taking down those signs, they were doing it the hard way. It's a lot easier to just take the bolts out of the signs and grab the signs instead of cutting through a 4x4.
Yeah, they wanted all of it. They
wanted the whole thing
stick as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Addams Family.
Right.
They do a lot of that in that movie too. I was also going to mention I didn't because trying to save time, but I've been watching a lot of the Addams Family, the original. Like, you saw that picture I tweeted about all the DVDs I picked up. For, the Addams Family, fun show, just good old like this movie. That's just time to breathe, time to think, time to enjoy what's happening. Just a dumb concept of these weird people who might be demons or ghosts, or I don't know what's going on in the Addams Family, but they seem to always be torturing each other, and they're fine afterwards. Don't worry about it. Just have fun. Don't overanalyze your Funny Farm movie. don't write 3 pages on your time cards. That's fine. Okay, where are we now? Sold the book. Nice. So Andy's he's like, nice, good job. But you get that feeling, it's kind of affecting the relationship a bit because he's there to write and he's not at the writer's block. But there she is, just doing it. He's
jealous. Yeah,
a little bit of jealousy going on. Next up, that's when he starts drinking, I guess, because he's getting really wound down or worn down by this point. And that's when throughout the movie they've been getting letters from the what is it? Coffin. What's the name of those guys?
Well, it's just the town, right, that charged them for
it's like a sort of funeral home.
Yeah.
Sending them bills because they gave that body of a person they don't even know, top of the line stuff, and it's like, we're not paying for this, and they keep bugging him to the point where he gets the body back and he digs it back where that came from. He's like, well, let's see him try and bill me now, which doesn't make sense because they would have still done the work and they still would have needed to get paid.
Yeah,
but don't think about it. Don't worry about it. You're overthinking it. Yeah, it's just a silly situation. It's just Andy and the Criterion Brothers and a spooky, stormy night dropping a coffin back into their garden because...
By the way, did you catch that one of the Criterion Brothers is Dauber from the TV show Coach?
He did look familiar.
He's also the voice of Patrick on SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah. Huh. I didn't know that. I always thought that was... the other guy, what's the guy? The guy, the dumb guy. We're the devils, Oh,
Putty? No. It's not Patrick Warburton. It is Dauber.
Dauber.
From
Neat.
Coach.
See, we're learning so much about
There you go. Yeah.
these movies. All right, good stuff. What do we got next? So, Coffin back in the garden, and look who's in the corner. They're watching them do it. It's Yellow Dog. Yellow Dog sees what's going on. He wants to know what's up, but we'll get back to that in a bit later. A season later, in fact. What do we got next here? Okay, here's where the boulder comes into play. Andy's book publisher shows up, wants to know what's going on. They gave him 10 grand to write that book, and at this point, Andy's a bit crazy. Do you feel this progression is justified? Like,
no, he went off the deep end like he shouldn't have, you know.
Maybe it was the car crash. Maybe that kind of affected him. That would be.
I think it's just Chevy Chase. Like this, it's just any sort of comedy, right? It's an exaggeration of what really would happen, right?
Yeah, so, but there's a definite escalation going on. I don't know. Like they should be madder than they are on this show. Maybe I don't know.
Well, it's passive aggressiveness, right? Like he is like doing like staying in bed until 3 o'clock or whatever. He feels as if she cheated him out of, you know, he's the one supposed to be enjoying the success, not her. So he's just doing all this passive aggressive crap. Like I'm just going to do nothing.
I mean, all these slapsticks. I guess you have to think of it not as a comedy, but it just says this kind of shit's happening every day. Maybe. When it's segued as it is and going through seasons like that, it kind of feels like that's the only thing that happened. So maybe it's like 5 bad things happened in that whole year. This isn't bad. Whatever. He's getting pissed off, and there's this mailman that he won't stop. He wants him to stop. We don't really know why he wants him to stop. He just, I don't know. Maybe he's sick of the noise of the smog that his beat up truck kicks
I think he just wants to give him like a talking to, like, how dare you just run down this road so crazily, like you could have, because he almost ran him over the first time, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just a game with him at this point. Like he's going to get him, and it's something else to think about other than the fact that he can't write. So it's an excuse to not be sitting in that room and trying to write.
Yeah. Well, one thing's sure, he's pissed off. He's drunk. He's crazy at this point. He's the crazy country guy to the point where he's got this huge ass rock and he's pushing up the side of the hill. I don't know why he wouldn't have done that a lot sooner. Like, why do it like 10 minutes before the guy's supposed to drive by? But don't worry about that. It's just a movie. So he's pushing up the rock, and the publishing guy shows up and wants to know what's going on with that book because it's been almost a year and they have nothing to show for it. And he's like, quick, get over here. You help me with this. And they're pushing this boulder up a hill because they're trying to make the boulder, which didn't seem like it would be enough. But he's trying to hit the mailman's car with the boulder to make him stop. It's so dumb. What a silly movie. Anyways, he's like, hold it. I can't hold it. No, hold the boulder. I can't hold it. To the point where the boulder, which if it's that heavy, would have crushed the guy, I think. Because if it takes 2 guys to push this boulder up and then it rolls over one of the guys, it's an old guy, maybe it would have done more damage. Don't worry about it. Don't
worry about it.
Just don't worry about it.
Keep going.
So the boulder rolls over the publisher guy. It hits the side of the truck,
just
but
nicks it.
Yeah, it does nothing. Like it
definitely
looks like at that point it's like, well, there's no weight to that thing. But then it keeps rolling and hits the guy's car instead, and that's when it does some big damage. But the guy's okay, you know. It's the 80s. People are made from sterner stuff back then. So he gets back, you know, it's fine. Anyways, so you smashed my car. That sucks. I just bought it. But anyways, we need that book. You got that book for us. Oh yeah, because he tried to call them, but they can't get through because it's Redbud.
It's stupid payphone, right?
Yeah, I guess. So what does Andy do? He runs up to his study or whatever, and he grabs his still burnt manuscript. He's done nothing since. And this won't work. They're gonna want all the money back. We have to move back or whatever. And what does he do?
He's trying to cut off the burnt parts.
Yes. It's like the edge. Like, why would you cut the edge? Like, that wasn't even burnt. Don't worry about it. So what does he do, Kevin?
He instead hands over the sequel that his wife was writing to her first successful children's book, and passes that off as his own to the publisher.
A bit of the old plagiarism.
Yeah,
Was it the original? Or, I guess it would have been the sequel
it was
because
the sequel.
yeah, they already had the first one by that point.
Yeah,
Did she have the whole sequel done by that point?
I don't know if she had it all done, but they just wanted something, right? Like what he's
Yeah.
working on, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Okay, so that's not good. And he, instead of giving his publishing house his own work, he gave his wife's work instead, without her knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing that's the only draft because they just typewriter printed it out too. So that's gone now. She never notices, which is kind of weird. But don't worry about that.
Keep going.
Giving him her squirrel story. Yeah. And then I guess not much happens because the next thing I have is farmer versus farmer. Because what happens? They that publisher guy calls back later and talks to his wife.
Yeah, and
Said
she
we
finds
love the
out.
book, and she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
so you love the heist?" And he's like, "Heist? What heist? This is a story about squirrels." And she's like, "What?" Yeah, it's like a storybook. Now we don't publish storybooks, but we have a subsidiary that will be. And she slams down the phone. It's like, "What? He gave you my story and put his name on it?" And that's the final straw right there, isn't it?
Yep.
That's the big turn to the whole movie. It's like this, escalation of silliness, slapstick, 80s fun. But then by that point, that's when final straw. We've seen enough. And she's like, "You know what? I'm leaving you." She runs upstairs. He's still asleep because he's sleeping in too much now because he's drinking too much, unless he's trying to catch the mailman. And yeah, she sort of moves out for a bit. She goes to stay with the antique store lady. He's like, "Don't forget your squirrel. No, don't forget Andy." Chucks
Oh,
her.
by the way, forgot to mention that the antique store lady is the librarian from the beginning of Ghostbusters.
Oh, nice, nice, good pull.
Another Ghostbusters connection.
What's her name? Is she in this list?
Oh, geez, I don't remember her name.
She's not in the cast. She had lines.
Yeah, she was had a pretty decent part.
Yeah, she's a support for Elizabeth. All right, so that was the final straw. So now the farmers are kind of broken up, and they want a divorce. And that's when you see that guy, as Kevin mentioned, that was the umpire.
Yes, yeah, the guy who can't. He's got this weird neck brace that apparently he wears all the time.
Yeah, it's been like you said, like half a year. Do we ever find out how he got that?
No.
Is that why like they were working together, but they were suing each other at the same time? The two lawyer guys.
Oh no, he was representing him in that case. Or yeah, because they were representing. One was representing the wife, one was representing Andy, right? And then one of the lawyers was going to represent the other lawyer in another case, which would have been a conflict of interest.
Was that the funeral home one, or there's a lot of little lawsuits on the side too?
No, it was the divorce case, and then like how he got that neck brace or whatever, which we never find out. That's what he's going to represent him in that case.
It's just a funny character building thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So then they find out they won't be able to get divorced until like the end of the year, basically. So at that point, they're stuck together, and they're kind of living in the same house, I guess. Are they?
No. He was I think he was in the house, and she was still at the antique store ladies.
Yeah. So at this point, their marriage is more or less done. They're just so sick of everything that's happened throughout the year, and they're sick of each other. And then this plagiarism thing was the final straw, to the point where she's like, "All right, we need it. We're done. I want a divorce." Like, fine. So that's when she, like I said, moves in with, I guess, the antique store lady.
Alice Drummond. That's her name, the actress.
Oh. Did you find that on
Mrs. Ethel Dings? Dinges? Dings?
Could be. It's not here. I don't want to open up too much stuff. I'm always on
IMDb.
Yeah, cool. All right, so what do we got? So I guess by this point it's wintertime, and what they want to do is sell that house so they can, I guess, move back to the city. Is that the plan? Yeah, I guess it's too much house for singles, anyways, if they're gonna divorce. So
I don't think either of them could afford the house on just the one salary, because he's got to give back the money. She's just on her second book, right? She doesn't have the sports writer money or whatever. I don't know. So they just want out of this house. They want to sell
Well,
it.
they bought
Move on.
the house, didn't they? Like that's the whole point. Now they're selling it.
Yeah.
Because I figure that's how they at the start they saved up enough money to buy this house in the middle of nowhere, and that's why.
I think the goal is just to get out of town, like just go their separate way, sell this house, and just go their separate way.
Anyways, so we got the town meeting where it's like, you know what? We hate all of you people. You hate us. That's fine. What we want you to do is help us sell this house. And if you do, we'll just give you money. And everyone's like, yay, money. 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 Can you hear this, by the way? If I
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
It's a fidget cube in the shape of a transformer.
Oh,
I got two of them. Thank you, Dollarama. Okay. Okay, so by this point, it's wintertime, and they're like, you know what, we've got these books. We've got this woman who works at the antique shop. She's got these books from the 1920s. Norman Rockwell wrote these books. He knows what American life is supposed to be like, middle America, old-timey. You're supposed to be nice to each other. You're supposed to be normal people. And if you do this for us, we'll just give you money. And everyone's like, okay. Because they'll do things for money. You know, it's a weird mixed-up town. Everyone's like a weirdo, but money, Kevin.
Yep.
Money. Money makes everything
translates
better.
all. Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Have I missed any things you want to bring up on your lists?
Nope. They're good so far.
Sounds good. All right. So I have it written down. Bribing the town to behave. Classic. All right. So what we got here? So this random couple. I don't remember their names. It doesn't really matter. But they're there to buy the house. And this is when they put on their big performance. The whole town working together to try and get this house that the farmers own sold. So they'll get
it almost becomes a Christmas movie at this point, because it's Christmas time, and so they're all putting on their best Christmas cheer, you know, doing the caroling, putting up the tree, all that stuff.
Hanging out on their property, like ice skating and singing.
Yeah.
So
the amount of money that they're promised, like the town is promised, if they sell the house, they're going to give the town $10,000, and then every person that participates in this is going to get $50. And I know it was the '80s, and $50 goes a long way. Or a lot
that's
longer,
true, though. Yeah, it would be that much more back then.
Right, but I mean, it would be a good chunk of a Nintendo, I guess. But or not even one game. It wouldn't even be one Nintendo game. But anyways, yeah, they really like go way far and beyond for $50. Like, man, some of them are
$50.
I know, but
what else are they gonna do? It's a small town, nothing going on. Let's make $50. Yeah, so they promise. It's written here on the wiki. 15,000 to the town itself.
Right.
If the house is sold, and then they also promise an additional $50 to every person that tries to, give some Christmas cheer to these potential buyers to the house. So everyone puts on their big performance. They have a deer rating, like, let the deer go now. And the deer prances through their backyard. It's like, oh, it's so beautiful. All right, but stay cool. We gotta stay competitive. Can't get too eager here. We gotta seem cool. It says the prospective buyer. And then they just go through their town. They're having a meeting, talking about the house and how beautiful everything is. And then once you know it, what's that noise, Kevin? It's Crazy Mailman.
Yeah, that's right.
And Adam,
he shows up.
Andy's got that look like, oh, he's here again. But wait a minute, something sounds different. He's slowing down. What's that? He stopped the truck. He's coming to the door. He's at the door. He rang the bell. Opens the door. It's Crazy Mailman. He's there. He stopped. He's here to hand them the mail through the front door. $50, Kevin, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's all it took, man. Yeah, $50.
Crazy
all that trouble that Andy went through, like with boulders and making signs and all that, he could have just handed the guy $50. Would have solved the whole problem right there.
There you go. Makes me wonder if that's one of the themes underlying here, is that they feel like this. Maybe the town is bad because it's like, oh, here come rich white city folk coming into our little town, ruining everything.
They never really, like, you're right. They never really get into that as much as they should. Like this is a couple that really just had a bad time at their house. You don't really get a vibe for any reason why people like they really should not like each other,
Yeah.
other than the guy that gets caught with the fish hook in the neck.
Yeah.
There's
He was
really
just
like no other animosity. Like maybe the money too. Like the money with the burial and all that, not paying for it. But I mean they never really hit home. Like there should have been something more there to say like why these two parties really hate each other as much as they do.
Yeah. Yeah. You never really feel it. But whatever. Silly movie. Don't worry about it.
Silly movie. That's
We're
right.
just going through. And hey, there he is. Just this. You see him in the town meeting too. You see Crazy Mailman. The camera pans in on him, but you don't even know who he is yet. But I remembered from watching the movie before. It's like, oh, there he is. The camera gives him a headshot for just a moment. You don't really know why. He's just at that point. He's just another random townsperson. It's Crazy Mailman. So there you go. Crazy Mailman, not crazy when there's money involved. Stops in, gives them their letters, leaves them. But he still does this Crazy Mailman laugh at the end.
Yep.
He's like, "Oh man, this is gonna cost you." I remember the laugh that's at the end, which is great. And he's just giving him that look, like you son of a bitch, you're here. And they go into town. And it's like the old 1920s Norman Rockwell portraits where it's just lovely Christmas town. Everyone's, singing carols or ringing. It's festive. Would they have not had this stuff otherwise? Like surely this, town, country town, surely they would love this stuff anyways, right?
You'd think so.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm kind of getting a flashback to Nothing But Trouble again. That was Chevy Chase as well, right?
Yep.
Like that's it's like three different movies that all start the exact same way. It's just Chevy Chase in the car.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice is not Chevy Chase, but you know what I mean. I don't know. Must have been a thing. It must have been an 80s thing of just moving to the country. Must have been like a vibe going on at the time. Like, do you remember before when I was talking about like super cities, like the big all-in-one building in Gremlins 2, or in like Fifth Element, or in like Judge Dredd? Like there's these themes, these interesting themes that a lot of movies just touch upon. Makes you wonder what a current theme now is.
Today's Special. That department store in Today's Special. It had everything in it.
Anyways, interesting similarities with movies. All right, so Christmas Town. Everyone's now... So that's back home. It's nighttime. It's Christmas. And they had the whole town come into their home for eggnog and hot chocolate. And yay! Because they're all there on their property, which is kind of weird. Would you
wanted to make it... They made it look like, they were all neighbors. Yeah, the house that they were selling to these people, like, yeah, I would not want to move into this house. Because I would want people to leave me alone. Like the house was nice, but you still want
like it's a bit much. I guess that's the whole point. Is that like, these people are just going nuts, trying to get that $50.
Yeah,
to the point where they're on their property, ice skating on their pond.
Yeah,
caroling in their backyard. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
but don't worry about it. And he's like, "Hey, what a great time we've had, everyone. Let's all come inside for hot chocolate. Yay!" And here we are a season later. There's Yellow Dog again. He's been thinking about what ended up in their garden for months, I guess, to the point where he's ready to dig it up. Is that right? Does he dig it up in the wintertime? Like he digs through the snow?
I think he had
or did he do it earlier?
Yeah, I think he had it earlier, and this was the time that he decided to bring it into the house.
So Yellow Dog just had a skeleton arm for a chew toy for like a month. Like what?
I guess.
What? It was falling apart. Like what the hell? I don't know. Don't worry about it. Anyways, it's a nice group party. Everyone's having a party in their Christmas party, and they're just trying to sell a house. And Yellow Dog shows up with a skeleton arm in his hand. I don't know. It's weird. I have it written that he dug it up at like that night. I don't remember that way though. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, they show it. They show it like as soon as they're done, Yellow Dog comes out of the house or off the porch or something, and he goes right there and he starts digging. They
Yeah.
never show him like digging the body up or anything, but he just starts digging. So you get the impression that he did dig it up right then.
Yeah. So he just had it in whatever
Yeah.
dog dimension that they sneak their toys into, and I guess
Right.
no one ever noticed that he just had a piece
Might
of
have
a
buried
human skeleton.
Dogs will dig things up and bury them in other places too. You know,
Mhm.
so he might have
Especially
had it
80s
buried somewhere
dogs.
else.
They'll do
That's
all that
right.
stuff. Don't worry about it though. It's a party, but oh, there's Yellow Dog, and he's got a human skeleton arm in his head. And of course, we don't want the prospective buyers to see that. So Elizabeth is like, "Oh, excuse me, folks, let me just." And she's chasing the Yellow Dog around, who's got the skeleton arm, and she can't get out of them. So she grabs this huge frying pan and hits Yellow Dog with it. Off camera, just bong.
That was like the most violent part of the film. I felt for Yellow Dog. Man, that's animal abuse.
He's invincible though. Like you see his tail on fire earlier, and I guess it's just don't worry about it. He's invincible. He's Yellow Dog.
Right.
That's part of the movie. Don't worry about it.
He doesn't feel pain.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, what a zany adventure! All right, what do we got here? Okay, and that's the end of that night. Next morning, just stay the night. You don't have to worry. You can just stay in our guest room. It's fine. And the next morning, you know what? We want it all. We want the house. We want the furniture. We even want Yellow Dog. We want it all. We made an offer. It's more than you were asking for. We just give it all. Give it all of us to us. And at this point, I guess it seems like their plan kind of backfired because I guess this is what the farmers wanted all along from their home and their city and the town.
I guess.
Because now they're like, you know what? This was so nice. I don't even want to move anymore. I don't even want to get divorced anymore. I don't either. Let's just cut the whole thing off. And they start making out again because it's a delightful 80s comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And the prospective buyer's like, what? You can't do this. We were going to buy it. It's like, no. We're just going to keep it. You know what? Screw you. Let's get out of here. So then the buyers leave. And the people are still singing carols like, get out of here. Shut up. And they're in the way of the car and they drive away. And I guess the farmers make up.
Huh. Yep. They're back together.
Back together again. Let's check in the chat real quick. We had some Yoshi talking. Theme song. Wouldn't post. Good point. Green dog. No green dog, Yoshi.
No,
Yellow dog.
There's no green dog. Just a yellow dog.
Yellow dog. All right. So now I guess it's springtime, and they just decided, you know what? This is fine. We paid off the town. We didn't have to pay the $15,000 only because we didn't actually sell the house. But it's fine. We're back together again. We made up. We had time to cool down. And Andy goes back to doing his sports writing now for Redbud. And Elizabeth writes children's stories. All wrapped up.
Happy ending.
There you go. Second thoughts. Neat.
Ever after. Yep.
Fun movie. Maybe not something worth podcasting over, but shut up. Here we are.
Hey.
Funny fun.
I mean, this is unique.
Yeah. It's just a good old 80s comedy. Lighthearted fun for all ages. I enjoyed it. It's one of those movies I've always had in the back of my head. It's just much like The Great Outdoors. It's one of those things that must have been on TV fairly often, and it's just always in some little part of my noggin. You always think of it from time to time. Fun movie. Any favorites? Any favorite moments for you?
Well, besides the ones we mentioned, I don't know. I like the termites line on the bridge, and I think it's overall it's just a really fun movie. It's you can watch it at Christmas time. You get a little bit of Christmas vibe at the end, and it's like one of Chevy Chase's best. So why not? George Roy Hill's a competent director, very good. The movie flows well. There are stuff you can nitpick about it, like we did, but none of it really takes away from the movie. You just throw it on and have a good time.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the CAPMAX MOVIECAST is a chance for some bros to get together and have fun, chatting about a movie they enjoyed or hated. If I get a movie people hate and we talked about it, that'd be fun too. Good stuff. Let's look at the wiki and see if there's any fun facts we can dig up real quick. Okay, screenwriter Jeffrey Bohm said he loved the book. It was exactly the kind of movie I always wanted to write, said Bohm. It needed a lot of work because it wasn't told in the fashion that could be filmed. But I love the idea of working with Chetty. He was a comedy hero of mine and still is. Bohm says the tone of the film changed from what he expected when director George Orwell signed. George wanted to do a much classier version than I ever imagined it to be, said Bohm. I imagined it to be a little cruder, more lowbrow humor. See, I could see that. Rougher and more like the movies Chevy was doing at the time. But George was a classy guy. And he wasn't going to do that. He does what he does. He made the movie classy. I don't know if I go that far, and I think a lot of Chevy's fans were let down because it wasn't as raunchous and vulgar as they might have expected. I could see that. Anything else we got good here? Film was called Good Natured even when it's not funny. The best jokes are recycled from other better films. Funny Farm, a weak fish out of water comedy about a New York City couple who see the rural paradise turn into a rustic hell. Is a movie with a doubly deceptive title. Yeah, weird title. Anyways, the movie isn't about a farm and it isn't very funny either. This is just as pleasant yuppie comedies go, this is about par. Harsh. Yeah, man. Like this, Beetlejuice, Nothing But Trouble, The Shining. If you enjoyed any of those movies, you'll all get similar vibes. And yeah, the best film Chase has made. Weird. Surprised to hear people say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's his best, but I'd put it in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. My DVD is full. It's full screen. It's not widescreen.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, shame.
It's one of these weird cases. Remember these cases where it's like
the old snap cases. Yeah. I had a friend of mine who would actually take out the movies and make a new cover and put them in the plastic case and throw those out. Those old snap cases.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I guess that's about it for a discussion on Funny Farm. Fun movie.
Yeah. Good times. Yep.
Yeah. It's it's nothing, no game changer, but it's a fun. If you're just in the mood for like a lighthearted 80s comedy, it's got that 80s vibe to it. Could use more 80s cars. Didn't have a lot of 80s cars. That's about it. So we're gonna wind down this episode of the CAPMAX MOVIECAST. We'll just do a quick what you're looking forward to watching next, and then we'll give Kevin a chance to shout out his content again, and that'll be that. Kevin, any movies you're looking forward to watching next?
Oh man, pretty much anything I haven't seen.
But what's at the top of the list?
Well, they had have you seen the Fubar movies? There's Fubar 1 and Fubar 2.
I feel that would be something to ask J-Rock about.
I've never seen them, and they're on my PVR. They just aired them, I think, this past week, so I recorded those. So I'm curious to check those out. I don't know if I'll like them, but they seem like they might be good times.
Are those like rocker movies? Am I thinking of the right thing?
I'm not sure. Yeah. It's kind of like a Wayne's World comedy kind of thing. I think it's a little more vulgar though. I think it's Canadian.
That's definitely a J-Rock movie. You should have had him on for that discussion.
I'm pretty sure he's seen them a million times.
Probably, yeah. I think I've seen one, but I can't remember it. Oh, is that the two guys that want to go to the concert?
I'm not sure. I don't know what it's about. I just know that like people say they're good and it was there, so I recorded them. So I'm looking for that. And I've just been on an old movie kick lately. I've just been watching a lot of old films,
Why not,
Hitchcock
right?
and whatnot. Yeah.
They're all good times. Might as well.
Yeah.
You never know what gem you'll unearth next. And they're usually really cheap.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm reading the plot, but I've not seen much plot information here.
There probably isn't much plot.
It kind of sounds like a mix between like maybe Beavis and Butthead and Wayne's World.
I don't know. I'll give it a half hour.
Yeah.
If it's not grabbing me by a half hour, I'll just turn it off.
Yeah, sure. Something to watch.
Yep.
Good stuff. Hey, anything else you're looking forward to? So you're not going to check out Venom?
Yeah, eventually, like when it comes onto Netflix or something like that, I'll give it a whirl. But I'm not going to go to the theater to see it. There's nothing really big that's come out lately. I mean, all the Marvel stuff is done, and that's in a lull right now. So
I can't think of a movie I'd want to go to the theater to see anymore.
I still enjoy going to the theater once in a while, just for the experience, and it is fun watching movies with a group of people just to get what their reactions are in that. But yeah, for the most part, I got a nice sound system here at home, a nice big TV, so it's always just nicer to stay at home. You can watch 3 or 4 movies in the time it takes you to go to the theater and sit through all the commercials and all that crap. You know that they throw at the beginning of the movie now. It's like a half-hour of commercials.
I know, right? That's what I hate about buying like DVDs and Blu-rays. Half the time it feels like I'm paying for ads.
I know.
You get ones that they won't let you skip. Like it's like an FBI warning or it's a company logo. It's like, come on.
They punish you for going legit. It's like I could have downloaded this and skip all this stuff, but no, I go to legit because I want to give you a little bit of money and you make me sit through all this crap.
I know.
It's out of control. Yep.
Greed. So much greed.
And when they post those movies online, they cut out all those FBI warnings.
I know.
So the warnings that the people are directed to, they're cutting it off. And the choir who is sitting here will already know that downloading is illegal. We got to sit through the warning. It's stupid.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. No sense.
Anyways, alrighty. Anything else you want to shout out to? Looking forward to watching?
Not really. Nothing. Looking for a quick, I'm just looking for obscure movies. I'm trying to find Quick Change, the Bill Murray movie on a DVD, and that's hard to track down. Looking for.
What I've been looking for lately is Uwe Boll movies.
Oh yeah.
Did you know he follows me on Twitter?
Really?
Yeah, that's the film director who did like House of the Dead or Far Cry or Postal. A lot of those.
Yeah,
it's pretty surreal. He's a West Coast boy, Him, Johnny, and myself, we're all West Coast boys.
Right.
Vic Lou.
Yep.
I call him my boy Vic Lou. He's a West Coast. That's one of the few good things about the West Coast, man. It is so expensive here. I want to move to Ontario. You guys get all the cool events. You get the game swaps. You get all the conventions. We don't get any conventions.
You gotta have some nice game swaps.
Yeah. We got a toy show coming up, Kevin. Kevin, toy show. I just bought a ton of Zoids.
Yeah.
Look forward to that video coming up, and I don't know what to do, man. I'm gonna pull a J-Rock. I'm just gonna hitchhike to Japan. I'm sure it'll go fine. I'm done. And then I'll start it all over again, this time with Japanese swag. Anyways, I'm looking forward to watching the final Nightmare on Elm Street movie, the remake, which I hear takes it a bit more seriously, which will be interesting because the movies, they're all 80s camp, the Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's kind of what the point is. Like when they redid Leprechaun, they ruined that. New Leprechaun is garbage. It's not even about a fun little leprechaun dude anymore. It's just this monster in Ireland. There's like a small imp thing. He doesn't talk. He's not clever. He's not like jumping on a guy's stomach with a pogo stick like you want him to. I love Leprechaun. Those are fun movies, to tell you what. Sorry, we'll watch that. I'm looking forward to The Meg because I think that's coming out on disc pretty soon. That's the big shark movie that came out not too long ago. I'm looking forward to watching that. I'm looking forward to watching Jurassic World 2. That is now on disc. I was tempted to buy it, but it's like $25 for a Blu-ray, and that's just more than I want to spend for something I haven't even seen yet. So I'll wait for the library to get it, or I'll acquire it elsewhere. But you know how it goes. And watch more Addams Family. As I said before, it's just a fun thing to put on. Shows nowadays, it feels like shows are all shorter, but this is like old school, proper length of an episode. It's fun.
Yeah,
there's recurring characters. Surprisingly, normally these shows like Gilligan's Island, just as a random example, it wouldn't matter what order you've seen them in. But this, like, characters come back and they're the same character. It's like, oh, those Adams, I had to deal with them before, and it was a nightmare. Just surprising. Like normally these shows don't have that in continuity. Right. You say that, but this one does. It's kind of surprising. Great for watching on Blu-ray or on DVD or Blu-ray though. It's all right there, and you don't have to worry about missing. All right, I think that's it. Kevin, where can the people find you once again?
You can go check me. You can check out the Buried on Mars YouTube channel on YouTube, and you can just check out my podcast Retro Fandango. Just type in Retro Fandango into the Google. I'll pop up. And that's it.
Very
Type
good.
in Buried on Mars or Retro Fandango, or type in both and follow both things.
Perfect. Do you want to give a shout out to the Cartridge Club?
Sure. Type in the Cartridge Club in the Googles, and they'll pop up. I guess we are part of that community.
Yeah.
We also are part of.
Well, you definitely have more of like an outcast.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't have the graphics. No one sent me any graphics or anything, so I don't bother.
You just get them. You just get them. You acquire them.
Poor Kyle. He just took like footage from like a phone and he just watched someone else's.
Yeah,
that's what he does. I feel bad. Like, come on, guys. Come on.
I don't think he has a way of getting it to his device. I think that's the problem. Whatever.
I could just email him the video, and we all do video editing.
Yeah, I'm sure you can do the same thing. You can get them. Yeah. Somehow.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, that was Kevin. Thanks for being here on the second episode of the CAPMAX MovieCast, and of course, be sure and check out his own works. You're still doing YouTube stuff. We're all kind of getting back into YouTube, I feel.
Yeah, I be honest, I was burning out on the video game stuff, so this movie stuff is kind of rejuvenated my
It's definitely important to evolve your tastes. Yeah, be it like Transformers or toys or games or movies or sports. Is that, I don't know, whatever interests people. Records. Yep. I like this records movement. I have no interest in it, but I can definitely see there's a definite hype in records nowadays.
Vinyl records are fun for sure.
You guys should do a video on like record players. That'd be interesting. I'm sure there's tons of weird random features. But then that comes back to the thing about spending money for the channel. That's slippery slope.
That could be very expensive.
Yeah. Alrighty, and of course I'm Steven. Everyone, thanks for sticking around if you've been around for this long for this episode of the CAPMAX MovieCast, episode 2, Funny Farm. Check me out on, of course, you found it here already, but the CAPMAX Gaming YouTube channel. Check me out streaming video games every now and then. It doesn't happen often, but it might happen. CAPMAX_gaming, that's on Twitch. Check me out on Twitter, on the socials. That's at Steven Eider, Steven with the V, EIDHER. If you like pictures of stuff in stores, you're going to like that Twitter. Because there's a lot of pictures of stuff that I want to buy, and then maybe I bought it, or maybe I didn't. Read on and find out. Yeah, I guess that's about it. And if anyone out there that listens wants to be in an episode, let me know. Preferably on Twitter, or leave a comment in this video here if you watched it live. And shout out to everyone who stopped into the chat. We had Brandon, we had M from Transformers and Video Games, we had IQ Psycho. We had Yoshi Ben from Yoshi Console Mods. And we had Happy Console Gamer. That's really cool. West Coast boys. Shout out. And that's it. Cool. All right. That's it. Kevin, I hope you have a good rest of the long weekend. Enjoy that Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah, you as well. And thank you for having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm doing the turkey thing tonight, actually. I'm heading to Mom's place in a couple hours, so that'll be good.
Oh, nice.
I'm looking for the week of leftovers, too. That's always a nice time. Don't have to worry about it. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Bye, Kevin.
Bye.
Bye, Yoshi and everyone else. Bye-bye. Bye. Yeah. Bye.